I'm really excited about this video today because we have something here that I can only remember this car in my faint distant memory. And today we're going to get to have a look at it with its owner Dana, who built this vintage car when he was only a wee lad. So this is the real vintage car from the guy that built it years and years ago, and it's a very special car. So thanks, Dana, for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the ScaleGarage again.
Great, thanks.
You realize that we have a box here, and I'm pretty sure you're going to get to see some pretty interesting surprises here today. Tell us about this car.
Well, thanks for the intro. Yeah, this is my, I think, Christmas or birthday. When I'm 13 years old. We all started with the hot shot or the grasshopper, but this one sort of was the next evolution for me. And there's a lot of fond memories wrapped up in this one. This one is when I was 13. I have to credit my brother, my father, and myself. We did the paint job back then. We were huge NASCAR fans. We were huge Bill Elliott fans. And for those NASCAR fans out there, this is obviously vintage Bill Elliott, scheme. And back then I was, again, a NASCAR Bill Elliott guy and fan, along with the rest of my family. So, lo and behold, Marui, which isn't all that popular.
No.
You don't hear Marui as much as you hear Tamiya and Associated and Kyosho. Well, this is a Marui kit, and you know what? The quality was as good as the Tamiya brand back then. I think.
Sure.
And so Marui came out with this kit. My father purchased it for me, and we built it up, painted it back then, as I said. And so here it is. This is it. This is vintage as it sits. Now, in recent years, I've done a restoration on that, which sort of got me back into the hobby all these years later. You sort of find it in a box that's been hidden in your basement for 30 years or so, and you pull it out, and lo and behold, you get on eBay, and you can see that you can take that's been beat up when you were a child and be able to restore it. And so that's original but restored condition.
So this shell is the original vintage shell?
Yeah, original paint from back then. And my father, my brother, myself, we painted this up, and my dad did a really good job back then.
It looks really good.
Yeah, I love it. It is my holy grail in my collection for sure.
What did you have to replace on it for the restoration?
So yeah, thanks. Nothing was done to the body. The body is as it sat back then. Just a little bit of cleaning it up.
Yep.
So that's all original. But of course, the guts of the car. They tend to take the abuse. These rims. With this kit, you could actually do two things really unique. You can change the suspension. You can go from four-wheel off-road to four-wheel on-road.
Yeah.
And you got a set of slicks and a set of knobbies. So I have the slicks. The rims have been restored. They're hard to come by.
Yeah.
Gave the driver a nice fresh paint job. Got that done up again.
Yeah. And
then you can see underneath there are, a few changes. You can see some gray bits and some black bits. The black bits it's restored, it's vintage, but restored to this level. Gear casing in the back has been restored and replaced. But most of what wasn't damaged I tried to keep and restore. So there it is. It's you can see it doesn't have many guts in it. It's just a shelf queen for me. Wow. It's got so much memory to me that I don't think I would want to race it anymore. But there it sits in its glory.
This car has a whole bunch of technological wonders on it. I mean, it's got suspension travel limiters right here already on all four wheels, so you can actually set the ride height without using the shock right? There's this
Yeah.
extra little screw here on this threaded rod.
Yeah, and you could probably get, what's that, 20 mil or something? You could probably get...
oh yeah, there's a lot of adjustability on that. You have them set way down.
Yeah, for the
on-road
on-road
setup, yeah.
Yeah, so...
But that's amazing. And of course, this is a shaft drive.
Yeah, 4-wheel drive shaft.
There's a center shaft drive right here. And then you've got bevel gear diffs in the front and back.
Yep.
And looks like oil shocks.
Yeah, plastic oil filled.
Yeah, which don't leak.
No.
And I love your motor mid on the back. You remember these?
yeah, of course. Yeah.
That's cool.
It's pretty neat, and I have to shout out to my father. It's hard to see, but I had, like a lot of cases, you lose the battery cover, and I had lost that, and you can't really find that anymore. So my father made up one in aluminum, and then we married it with the chassis, and it seems to do well. So yeah, thanks for that one, Dad.
This thing is just slammed too.
Yeah, slammed. And you know what? But for that time and that era, it was a good performer.
I bet.
These are aftermarket, I believe, Proline Sprint. Sprint tires on it.
And the rubber's still soft enough on it.
Yeah,
I'm amazed.
Yeah. I did take it out for a spin, ever so gingerly, with our Shelf Queens, as you know.
Yeah.
And it ran well and looked good. But what that does is, now that I've restored this, you do a lot of searching on eBay, you do a lot of research on the internet, and lo and behold, you can find these unbuilt in a box. And I think that's where we're going to go next is, because this was where my memories are in the RC world back then. Of course, I needed to buy one that was mint in box, unbuilt. So I think that's what we've got there. So I'll push this aside, and we'll bring this up here, and we'll do a little bit of an unboxing of a vintage Marui Coors Melling Bill Elliott RC car.
So I see on the box art here, they're showing the two different suspension setups for the front and rear.
Yeah.
With the two different types of tires.
Yep.
And then, of course, they did such a great job back then of the box art, eh? Like, they've got this sort of a see-through idea here. Without even opening the box, you can see sort of how the thing is laid out.
Yeah.
And then, of course, all the proper coloring. And then they're showing you the two different setups here on the box. You got the high suspension travel here, the long travel with the lots of ground clearance, and then, of course, the low setting for the road version. And you can do that with those sweet little adjustable suspension limiters. Really cool. And then, of course, the top of this beautiful box.
I love the boxes from that era. Even the Tamiya was famous for it. I think a lot of the manufacturers copied it. But, I mean, look at that. That's just, a piece of art, really.
It is. It is actually art. It's drawn. It's a drawing.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And like, Bill Elliott in the 80s it was everything for me, watching NASCAR, watching Bill Elliott race around. Of course, we bought our family then went out and bought a Ford Thunderbird.
Of course.
1988 Ford Thunderbird, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You guys ready for this? This is an original, unbuilt Bill Elliott. Look at that. There's the whole manual.
Yeah.
And it even smells like an old manual.
Yeah, it's great.
Look at that.
It's unbelievable.
I feel like I shouldn't even be touching it.
Yeah, it doesn't get open much.
And then we'll show off this.
Look at that, eh?
Okay, this is the inside here. Just go through all this. I mean, this is mind-blowing what's in here.
So, I don't know if I ever have taken this apart. I'm not sure if it will come apart, but you've got, your vintage motor, all your gears, they always had this, and Tamiya did the same thing. They had this sort of beautiful presentation.
Yeah, really.
Took out some of the premium parts and sort of put them on display.
Yeah.
So you've got motor, metal gears, a couple different pinion gears. There's your selection of rims. These were foamies originally. And then you've got your other set of rims, which were all your knobbies, and they're just, never been touched. It's amazing. Body, unpainted, this is what it looks like when you're done. All the decal, fresh decal, vintage, just great.
And the decals look so new in this box, you would not believe it. They don't look aged a day.
No.
And the Lexan lid still has this extra protective plastic on here so that it doesn't get scratched or rubbed by the boxing.
Let's see if we can dive into here and see if we can actually take it apart. There we have the clear Lexan body. Big too, like just ginormous.
That is a huge body.
Really big. Wow, this is awesome. I haven't done this. This is a first. Ooh, look at that, eh? You know, what I love about the RC world too is a lot of the deco work you can get. We were talking to Sang. I know Sang's a big believer in the decals. Loves them. I love the decals. It's just amazing, and this is a nice collection of them.
Yeah, Sang is a vintage Tamiya collector.
Yeah, absolutely. And
it's all about this vintage stuff.
Yeah.
Am I privileged enough to take this out of the box?
Go for it. Just remember how it goes back in, because it needs to go back the way it came. Yeah.
So this is 2 different colored plastics in this box, in this bag, and we've got the driver here in a more natural sort of a color, and then a dark brown gray sort of a color for what looks like gearboxes and stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. I cannot believe I'm seeing this. This looks like frame, battery cover, and a bunch of suspension parts and mounts and stuff.
And of course, there's the battery cover, which I'm missing on my, restored one. And dare I open this? No, I have to make my own, so I wouldn't open this.
No, I don't think I want to take this out the usual way, because it's full of stuff.
Good point, yeah.
Let me just turn this upside down here so you can see inside here.
Oh, look at that. So you've got, all the shock, the bright yellow shocks. Just everything. And it's all new, it doesn't have any wear on it. It's really neat.
It's super clean and new.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And this box, of course, must be all the other gears and bits and important stuff.
Yeah, and even the tape is still there. It's starting to break up a bit, but you can see that it's never been opened. It's still, there. That's amazing.
Wow. And, of course, show off what's inside the box here. This is incredible, too.
So you've got, I don't know if you guys can see that, kind of hiding behind it, but you got, there's the layout, right? The layout of the car in all its glory, the schematics of it, amazing. Just great work, great detail. Love it.
Inside a box. Like, who puts that inside a box? That's amazing.
Yeah, like I said, Marui, that was just a bit of an unknown back then.
Wow.
And they made some really good stuff.
Really nice.
Yeah.
Man, I can't believe I'm actually seeing this. So, by the looks of it, the cardboard inside has little clips for the edges of the body Lexan.
Oh, yeah. That's
so I think we better put these back in first.
Okay. Of course, it's got to go back the way it came because of the originality of it all, and you want it to be sort of pristine and perfect. Manual.
Look at these stickers.
Yeah. And I'll never build it. Unfortunately or fortunately, it'll stay. It'll stay as it sits. It raises the question, and oftentimes these are worth more unbuilt than built.
Yeah.
Just because then they're just so pristine and perfect that you don't have to necessarily worry about building them. You can keep them in the box and they still retain their value.
That is absolutely mind-blowing.
All right.
We'll get this back in here the right way.
So yeah, I was lucky enough to, later in life, I'm lucky enough to have my original, and restored, and then again lucky enough to have one in the box. So I just these are my pride and joy in my collection. So they're in my basement on a shelf all to their own. It's just a lot of fun. So that's what started it for me. That's what I know when I was younger. This is it. This was what spawned all of this, and it's just so much fun back then, and to relive it and to have this now is great. I'm just enjoying it.
Oh, I'm super happy to be able to see this car. That's amazing.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you so much for bringing that in.
No problem. Thank you for having me. Yeah,
great
this has
to
been
see
fun.
you again.
Yeah,
The
great.
ScaleGarage.
Yep.
And guys, make sure you like the video and comment below. have you got a car like this? Are you hiding one of these things somewhere in your basement? You better go downstairs in your collection and have a look, because maybe you've got an example like this hiding in a box somewhere. That is fantastic. I better go look in my basement, just in case there's something in my basement too.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow, that's really great. Well, boy, thanks so much for bringing that in, and we look forward to some more ScaleGarage rig reviews, and if you can call this a rig review.
Sure.
This is like archive.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, this is like
well, that's
antique.
the great thing about this hobby. It can be everything and anything, right? From vintage to new to re-release to big scale, small scale, what have you, right? Yeah.
Wow. Well, this is sure a real fine piece of RC history, and beautifully kept and well restored, but still much loved and used.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So fantastic, guys. Thanks for watching the video, and hope you enjoy. And come back to check out some more great stuff from the ScaleGarage really soon.